How's it going, everybody? Josh coming to you from J.R.Heller and
Logan Chappell.
And today we got a banger of an episode, a banger, because we're going to talk about cause and effect, how your actions and behaviors change your reality and the reality of people around you. Do they or don't they? I don't know. That's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
So,
No, I mean, I definitely think so, man. I mean, realistically, like, you teach us, you were taught this, and you teach this to all of your kids. For every action that you do, there's some sort of consequence, whether that's positive or negative. You know, it's not always a consequence in the terms of like, oh, well, you did something wrong, now something wrong is going to happen to you.
Right.
But I am a big believer in karma. I think karma is real, and so if you have good intentions and you do your best to be the best version of you, then I think that realistically you're going to be better off and better things are going to happen to you.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned like teaching kids. I think one of the biggest proponents of that, watch a kid play with another kid, right? If they're sharing toys, the other kid has a way different reaction to them than if they were hogging everything, being mean, pushing, bullying, right? And so it's funny because like literally Lorelai goes to her babysitter and Cash bullies her, or Cash is kind of mean to her and picks on her, which I think part of it is he has a crush on her.
Yeah, he likes her.
Yeah, I mean, that's what kids or boys do when they're young.
Yep.
But
and when they get older sometimes.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. But she doesn't take it that way. And so she literally, like, she dreads going over there when Cash is there because she, like, doesn't appreciate it. She doesn't enjoy it.
Yeah, that's his way of showing his affection and attention. And,
yeah. That's how boys do when they're young. But just it's crazy how different, how you treat somebody or your behaviors or the way you move within the world gives you different things, right?
Yeah, definitely. I know, again, going back to the doing your best, I think will give you the best. And when you have poor intentions or bad intentions, if you're wishing poor or bad on someone else, you're getting poor or bad to you. And it's happened time and time again. I've seen it, within my peers, growing up throughout high school. I mean, the kids who were doing bad, and I'm not talking about getting punished and getting detention or something like that in school. Yeah. They ultimately had a worse outcome in the grand scheme of things in life than the ones who had good intentions and just kind of kept their head down, focused on them and their loved ones, and just kind of kept moving forward.
Well, that's kind of, you're speaking on law of attraction. You get what you give out, right?
Yeah.
You kind of bring in whatever it is your focus is on. So like I always go back to like the Tony Robbins thing. It's you never thought about a car, and then all of a sudden you purchase a car, and then you see it everywhere, and you never saw it before. It's because your attention is on that thing.
Yep.
So your brain is articulating. It's got a reactor in there that it shows you the things that you hone in on. It's like a target, right? You go towards or only even notice the things that you have a perception on. So if you're focusing on negative things, you're going to see the world as a negative place. Yep. And you're going to take certain slights from people that you normally wouldn't have taken or somebody else doesn't take because they're not thinking negatively.
Yeah. And to touch on the law of attraction too, The Secret. If anybody is familiar with The Secret, you definitely should be. You should go check that out. I don't know.
They did a movie with Grant Cardone.
I know.
Did you see that one?
Yeah, I saw
That's
it.
good.
Yeah. Are we able to drop that link for Audible? Or?
It's a really great question. Yeah, I would think we probably can. So let's look up the Audible link for The Secret and drop it in the bottom. And then on top of that, guys, we'll give it to you for free, right? Because we have a 30-day free trial from Audible from Amazon that they have blessed us with. So we'll put the link to that in below, and then we'll also put the link to The Secret Audible so you guys can listen to it completely free.
Yeah, no, definitely good stuff. Love the law of attraction. Big firm believer in manifestation. Regardless of your religious beliefs, I still pray every day to whatever that higher power may be. I'm not even sure what I believe in, but I still pray every day and I still manifest every day.
Yeah.
And speak things into existence. And again, like you said, it's all about the attention, right? Not only is this world attention driven, hence why we're sitting here creating content so that way you guys can see our lovely faces and we can get our brand out a little bit more. But this is a very attention driven world, and it's easy to lose focus of not only your goals but what is important to you.
Yep.
So you really got to just stay focused, and then the more attention that you put on the good things, the more good you'll have come to you.
Do you believe that you manipulate people?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
In a positive manner. But yeah.
Elaborate on that.
Yeah, I definitely believe that. I mean, I think I manipulated my lady to be with me. She wanted nothing to do with me at first, and that persistence and again that attention. I stayed in front of her and I said, hey, I think that this is the right move for both of us. This is what we both ultimately want, and our values and our beliefs aligned. So yeah, I sold myself to her. I sold myself on her, and I do that every day in real estate. Realistically, every time that I go in and sit down with a new investor or we just had a great meeting with an investor.
Yeah.
And we didn't manipulate in a selfish way, but we are sitting there using our words and laying it all out on the table, right?
Yeah.
Hey, this is exactly what we have to offer. This is exactly what we can do for you. And I believe that to be some form of manipulation, because you're basically persuading, that person into, trusting you because you have their best interest in mind. And it's very easy to find out and notice when someone doesn't have their best interest in mind. That does take some social cues and some experience, but once you've been done dirty once or twice, you kind of know what to look out for and know, like, hey, these guys aren't the right guys for me.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and that you touched on a word there. It was persuasion. Almost like everything in life is persuasion, not only for other people, but persuading yourself, right? You got to sell yourself. You got to persuade yourself into certain actions and stuff. And, whether you realize it or not, you are always being persuaded and you are always persuading others.
Yeah.
And some people find that dirty, or they find the word manipulation dirty, and it's not. Manipulation is actually something that is fully ingrained in the world as a large, whether it be animals or humans or anything on this earth and in this universe even. But persuasion is a form of manipulation, but it doesn't need to be bad. The bad part comes in when you're trying to manipulate somebody into doing something that's you full well know is negative for them, and you're taking advantage of them not having the ability to say no.
Yep.
That's where it becomes dirty or evil, right? So, and it's just like anything, right?
Yeah, for personal gain too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like anything. You can take anything either way. Too much cash, too much money can either be a bad thing or a blessing. It depends on the person and how the person uses it, right?
Yep, it amplifies them.
Absolutely. Yeah, too much of anything can be bad. You need gives and takes with that. But yeah, coming back to I think, and it's scientifically proven, it's like we're all at the fundamental level, we're all energy, right? We're all atoms, we're all energy. And what happens is we all have these vibrations that, we're giving out constantly, whether we realize it or not, and we're vibrating at different wavelengths. And when you bring emotion into a situation and conviction and authority, you can literally see the person, across from you change and start to vibrate at the same level that you are, and it clicks with them, and they start to either raise, or you could take this the other way. You could make them depressed. You can push them down. But after a while, people mimic the environment that they're in. And so if you're acting with authority throughout your day and you're realizing this and having your mind on this, again, you get what you kind of set your attention to. If you're cognitive of this, you can actually change, your feelings within inside yourself, and that can actually change your environment. It can change the people around you. It can change your fortune. This is where luck comes from.
Yep.
Luck is not luck. Luck is manufactured.
Yes, it is.
10 million percent.
Yeah.
It's manufactured. There's some serendipitous luck because the universe operates from a law of randomness. I mean, look at quantum mechanics, and we don't have to go too far into physics and everything like that. But you look at quantum mechanics, and basically everything is super intertwined with a bit of probability and non-probability. Anything could happen all at once.
Yep. And I mean, depending upon your belief system, it might all be happening all at once.
Absolutely.
Multiple different universes.
Absolutely. There could be a version of you out there right now that's a stripper.
Hey.
There could be a version of you that's a bank robber. There could be a version of you that's the president. Who knows, right? But what we deal with, or what we try and deal with, is the things that we can actually take control over and have actionable choices that will dictate what happens to us in our lives, right?
Yeah, and going back to the whole persuasion and persuading yourself, I mean, I persuade myself every single morning to get out of bed and go to the gym.
Correct.
I mean, I'm waking up before the sun's up, at 4 a.m, and it's not fun, but, do I want to stay where I'm at now, or do I want to continue to progress? And I tell myself that every day when I'm waking up in bed. I'm like, do I go back to sleep? Well, then I still need to find time for the gym. That's going to set back some of the other things that I have on my to-do list today. Or, I just completely scratch it, don't go to the gym at all. Yeah. Well, then what kind of progression am I going to see,
Well, and not only that, but it's like in life, like, you're all in. Like, nobody gets out of this alive. So you're all in whether you realize you're all in or not. And sacrifice and, doing those things that end up to bring you to a better future is inevitably the only action that you can take to avoid bad things in your life.
Yeah. I just heard a great clip on sacrifice, and you're either sacrificing for your goals or you're sacrificing your goal for whatever else it is.
Absolutely.
And it's so true. And the way that I forget who said that, but whoever positioned that, I was like, man, hit the nail on the head.
Well, I go back to me, that's a very much like a better interpretation, or a more advanced interpretation of a grantism, which is sell or be sold. You're either sold on yourself or you're sold on somebody else's product.
Yep.
Right. So you have to come with it at authority. You have to realize that everything you really need is within yourself. At the end of the day, you're the only one who's going to make yourself take action. You're the only one who's going to make yourself get out of bed in the morning, right?
Correct.
And so, there's a lot of people that can give you knowledge base and help you and, make you motivated or whatever. But at the end of the day, it all comes back to you. Nobody can kick you out of bed and make you do the things that you do, which is great because we live in a world where, luckily, we have a lot of decision that we're able to make. And the problem has become that there's so much decision that people are bombarded and they don't even know how to take the first steps.
And that's why it's easy to get distracted.
Correct.
The point of this episode is cause and effect, and
right.
how it affects you in your life. And what's the effect of me going to the gym in the morning every day? Well, I'm going to wake up with more energy. I'm going to feel better.
Yep.
I'm going to get more done. My productivity is going to go up higher.
Yep.
My health is going to improve.
Yep.
So there's,
It's almost like an equation.
Yes.
It's like a mathematical equation. You can 100% see the root cause and then the effect of that. So you put A and B together and you get C.
Yep.
And you can do that with almost anything in your life. And going back, I obviously love Jordan Peterson. He says in his clinical practices, he has never seen anyone ever get away with anything. And that scares him to his core, because he's been able to, even where areas or times that people thought they got away with things and something else sprouted out in their life that they didn't have a direct causation from said thing that they thought they got away with, they were able to go back to the root and go through all of these circumstances and say, oh, this actually was the cause of this. And that's a pretty terrifying thing to think about because
yeah, it could be for better or worse though. You know, it's all what you make it, and it's all about the decisions that you're making. And again, going back to the goals of, you know, where do you see yourself tomorrow, and where do you see yourself next week and next year, and so on and so forth, and taking the actionable steps to get to that point, and then pushing it further, and then further and further.
Well, and I would say most people, the problem with most people's lives, or the way they find themselves in bad situations, is that they literally just never sat down to take a look at what it is they ultimately wanted to be, where they wanted to be, and said, okay, well, maybe there's some certain actions or things I could take today that would make that most likely for me to do that. Yeah. And not only the reverse of that, most people are driven to avoid pain more than they are to go towards pleasure. So the importance of that is you need to frame things in a negative light to get yourself to be motivated. If the big shiny puzzle piece in the sky doesn't do it for you, which means maybe it's, I just don't want to die too early so that I don't get to see my daughter get married.
Yep.
Maybe that's a reason for health. Maybe it's not the six pack. Maybe the better way to frame this is, if I continue on this path, I'm not going to be here to watch her get married.
Yeah.
That's that could be a huge motivating factor. So sometimes you got to frame that in the negative, right? To bring out the passion for it, because at the end of the day, your why is definitely going to drive your behaviors and your actions more than anything else.
Yep. And unfortunately, some people are dealt bad hands, right?
Yeah,
some
absolutely.
people don't have the same opportunity that everybody else had. So, where do they start, right? And I think it is starting with, taking in content like this and learning that there is more out there and that you can change your
Absolutely.
outcome. I think that that's a great start in trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I even start? And like Josh alluded to, you want to sit down and figure out, what are your goals? Oh, I want to be a millionaire. Great. How are you going to do it? Let's break it down piece by piece and figure out, well, if I start doing this, I can make some money here, and then I can push it into maybe this investment vehicle or this business and start to grow that. That'll give me more of a return. And then, again, it's just a step-by-step, process.
Well, and that's a great point. And one of the main reasons that I absolutely love making content like this and just having conversations is that watching YouTube and listening to, Tony Robbins and motivation or psychiatrists, or however you want to put him, or people like him, is literally the reason, or one of the reasons, that got me out of depression when I was a kid. I mean, I won't say I had the worst home life. There's definitely people that had way harder home lives than I did growing up, but I had a lot of questions that were unanswered, and I had a lot of depression around my parents, just their relationship. And my dad was a psychologist, so I had, that kind of going for me, where I'm in my head a lot, and I'm reasoning things and why things mean certain things.
Yep.
And the thing that really got me or picked me up and started this process for me of self-realization and doing, the hard work around the emotions of that was, Tony Robbins. It was YouTube. I would literally, I'm not even kidding, 8 hours a day, I would be watching Tony Robbins stuff. It would be in my headphones just around the house. I'd be, working out downstairs because I'm angry and I'm a kid and I'm trying to get out some of that emotional stress. And, I'm just listening to this, and it soaks in. And I still, to this day, every single night, I would say probably 29 days out of 30 or 31 or whatever, I fall asleep to an Audible book. And again, I'm not plugging Audible here. I think it's amazing, which is why I wanted to be a sponsor for one of them. But I think that a lot of things aren't cognitive. I think that a lot of things soak into your subconscious. And if you listen to that enough while you're sleeping, and it doesn't always have to be like positive motivational stuff. Like last night, it was quantum physics. But I woke up, and that's why we're actually making this YouTube right now, is because I woke up with this idea of, wow, cause and effect. And some of the things that I was hearing had to do with that subject. So I think it's super important to realize the information that you're feeding yourself. And I think it's super important to do that at nighttime, during the day, just always.
Yeah, as much as possible. And then a lot of people get in this, what is it called? When they overanalyze and they're stuck. Analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
A lot of people get stuck in analysis paralysis when it comes to, health, fitness, entrepreneurship, whatever the case may be, whatever your personal goals are.
Yeah.
They start taking in this content and then they're like, oh, well, I'm going to do that. Okay, well, when are you going to do that?
Content junkies.
Yes. Yeah, you can't only just take in the content. You got to start utilizing it.
You got to put pen to paper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why setting goals and writing them down and then starting to put actionable steps together is the only way to actually improve and succeed and get to where you want to be and get the effects that you're looking for,
And that's why knowledge is trash, because knowledge is potential. It means nothing until it's actioned upon. So knowledge is great. It's the first step, but having the knowledge is useless unless you actually use it. That's the only time that it actually becomes something of value, right?
Yeah.
So don't get that overanalysis paralysis thing. Don't ever stop learning or absorbing great content, but make sure you're backing that up with action towards the things that you're learning, right? Or the things that you're hearing. And maybe some of it turns out to be something that didn't work, or you thought it didn't apply to you, or you didn't like it. But how are you ever going to know that until you actually take action upon those things?
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, and it's amazing that the world that we live in today, because you can literally go on YouTube and learn anything, right? Like,
for
like literally anything. Yeah, for free. And colleges used to charge hundreds of thousands of dollars for some of the same information. And that, it's amazing, man. We used to live in a world that it was the information age, right? Yep. The people with power had the information because it wasn't readily available. And so that they were able to use information as a resource to sell it to those that were seeking the knowledge and get money for that. We don't live in that world anymore. The information is readily available and in abundance.
You just need to search for it. You need to look for it because, everybody's going to try and sell you a course or a class.
Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that. If it brings true value, you should, charge
invest
monetary and 1,000% invest in yourself always. That's the only investment that you bring with you.
And you'll get the largest return on it too. I mean, I love Alex Ramosey's SME 500, invest in the SME, before you invest in the S&P, invest in the SME.
Yep. And Alex was actually I watched a video on him with framing goals in the negative. And that's what made me think of that earlier of, most people actually, and I don't know what quote, I think probably Tony Robbins is, most people stay away from pain instead of going towards pleasure. So they're more driven on staying away from the pain of something than going towards the pleasure of an achievement. Yeah. Well, and it's completely factual. I mean, it absolutely is. There's nothing that, kicks somebody out of bed quicker than somebody who is on their last dime and they have no resources, right? Like, you got to burn the ships sometimes. If you burn the ships, I mean, it's like the fear of like failure is there, because if you fail, there's dire consequences, right? It becomes real easy to get complacent when there aren't dire consequences on the line.
And that's why a lot of people, especially in business and in fitness, will both get to a comfortable point, and then they taper off. I'm tapped out, rather than hitting the pavement and working as hard as you can like you were when you were first getting started.
Right.
You had all this energy because you didn't want to be fat, or you didn't want to be unhealthy, or you didn't want to be poor.
Yep.
Oh, well, now you're in a comfortable position. Well,
and that's where you got to double down and get yourself real risky, right? That's why I love the Grant thing of like every year he cashes out. He spends all the money. Does he spend all of it? No. He spends a big chunk of money that frightens him, that makes him have to go work again because he doesn't want to get complacent. Yep. I've heard, people, I was watching an LO thing the other day, and it was write a check that's big enough to scare you that you have to give to your charity at the end of the year, and you will give it to them if you don't hit your goal. So that motive, or give it to a friend and tell somebody about it, right? So now you're accountable to somebody else. It's not just yourself. And so that puts you on the line. Now that is you driving yourself away from pain, right? Yeah. That's what you're doing there. So, and I think the best mix of that is do some of both, right? Have big goals that push you towards the future, and back that up with major pain if they don't get achieved.
Yeah.
Because now you're pulling at both ends.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, I think that's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I have anything else on the matter to.
No, definitely. I think we got some good nuggets in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And if there's anything you want us to cover, obviously let us know in the comments. I know both of our sincere hope is that we bring you guys value. Obviously we want to grow as a channel and we want to get our brand name out there and we want to serve clients in the real estate and mortgage space. But I think sometimes the best way to do that is to just bring value however you can bring value. And so we bring value in more than just one realm, which is real estate, right? Yep. And so we like to talk about a lot of different things. And please utilize that free Audible link below. It doesn't have to be The Secret. You can get any Audible book on there that you want. It comes with a free credit. It might come with 3. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. But I know it at least comes with 1 free book. So yeah, take advantage of that. And if you've gotten value, please share this video with somebody that you think could use it, that would get benefit. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you know when we come out with new content.
Yeah, definitely want to get back into a little bit of the real estate next.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you guys are interested in learning about real estate and mortgage stuff, we'll touch on that next video and then maybe get back to the life stuff. So we like to go back and forth and have a nice balance.
Absolutely. If you're looking to get into real estate or the mortgage, if finance and big banking business tickles your fancy more, let us know because we're looking for agents and we're also looking for LOs currently. So we'd love to have you on.
Always hiring.
Yes, always hiring great people.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Key great people.
Always.
Driven.
You know what? It's funny because I actually I had a Facebook post saying we were looking to hire LOs and somebody commented, hiring in this market when all the other banks are slashing people? And my comment back was, I'm always hiring great people.
Yeah.
That was my comment back.
Yeah, as long as they have a great attitude and they're willing to put in the work, we're happy to service them and make them successful.
Absolutely. We're looking to create a community, man. We're looking to create a community of great people because we realize at the end of the day that's what lifts everybody up is that community. So if you want to be a part of it, if you want to be in the community, if you want to help the community and help yourself, then please reach out. And thank you guys all again.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys.